All right, good morning, traders. Today is January 28th, 2026. My name is Coach Carignan. I'm the lead instructor here at the BYOB Trading Room. Thank you for being here. Thank you, everybody in podcast land, digital land, cyber land. Thank you for subscribing to my content, liking my content, leaving kind words on my content, following my content. Love all of that, and I appreciate that. Special shout out to Bob Jordan, John Jordan, Kathy, Sarah, Roasted, all for sharing the content, helping get the good word out there to the rest of the World Wide Web. Appreciate that. Love that. Thank you so much. All right, let's drill down. Let's take a look at what's going on. Oh, I got an announcement. I think I do. Right here. Okay, so everybody out there in podcast land, this is a QR code. You scan that with your smartphone, and it will pop up a link to a registration page to, guess what? A free 2-day trading workshop hosted by Rick Sadler in the Hit and Run Candlesticks Trading Room. I think it's in the Hit and Run Candlesticks Trading Room. He may have it in the free room. I don't know where he's going to have it, but he's going to do a free one, all right? 2 days, back-to-back, 8:30 to 4. Don't miss it. Monday, Tuesday, February 2nd and 3rd, 2026, all right? Right around the corner here, okay? So open house, or you can call it a 2-day trading workshop, all right? You can join Rick at Hit and Run Candlesticks. Don't forget to get registered. If you don't see your registration credentials, please check your spam folder, all right? If you don't find them in your regular email, they probably went to your spam folder. So check that out before contacting us. All right, so free 2-day workshop from Rick. All right, let's take a look at, what do we want to look at? We want to look at this. Okay, so my SPY pivot this morning, 694.50. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. SPY and gold made new all-time highs yesterday. Diamond Dow made a lower low and a lower high, closing under a bearish cross and under the flat 17 EMA. IWM, Russell 2000, made a lower low and a lower high, closing inside a bullish trap over the rising 17 EMA. Okay, QQQ made a higher low and a higher high, closing over a bullish trap over the 17. Stinker made a higher low and a higher high, closed over a bullish cross over this falling 17 EMA. IWM, I pretty much got that one. That's supposed to be silver. Silver made a lower low and a lower high, closing under a bullish, no, it didn't close under a bullish trap. Okay, so disregard that one. SPY closed with a 2-hour uptrend, 10-minute bullish consolidation. Silver made a lower low and a lower high, closing over a bullish trap over a rising 17 EMA. USO still in an uptrend, made a higher low and a higher high, closing over a bullish trap over the 17. UNG inside day, that's a lower high and a higher low, closing over a bullish trap over the 17. Everything acting bullish here. US dollar index in a downtrend, closed near the 95.98 area. When's the last time we saw that number? That's pretty low. SPY max pain for today, 695, with a put to call ratio of about 1.4 puts for each call. That expires today at 4:15. Don't forget, security options expire at 4. Index options 4:15. The main event is today. All right, it's at 2 p.m. Wednesday. FOMC announcement. They're going to talk about rate cuts, all right, and inflation and unemployment. Okay, so they're going to decide whether they're going to do a rate cut, I guess, this month or next month. All right, so we'll see what happens, see what they got to say. And then they're going to give us a little presser afterwards, okay, around 2:30. And they're going to kind of explain how they came to the decision that they came to, all right? So probably a lot of volatility. All right, so if this is your first time seeing this this page right here that I share every day. All right. These are all in bullish daily uptrends over the 17 EMA. These are all in bearish daily downtrends under the 17 EMA. If they had a star like that over here next to them, they would be building out a bull flag, or I call it a launch pad from which to launch higher. Okay, if they got a star next to them over here, they're building out a bear flag, or I call it a platform from which to dive lower. Okay, so none over here. We do have a few over here that are building out bear flags. All right, let's take a look at the markets today. Move this out of the way. Start with a 10-minute chart. Okay, you can see price. Look at what price is doing. Moves up and holds the higher ground. Okay, so bullish consolidation. That was the day before. Yesterday, same thing. Up and over, holding that higher ground. Look at the pre-market action. Up, probably over, right over here. Consolidation on prior consolidation. Let's take a peek at that. All right, see what we got here in the pre-market. And pick it up on the 10. I just want to see what's going on here. Okay, so overnight. Okay, so in the nighttime, we consolidated bullishly right on top of that burnt brown line. Now burnt orange, that's VWAP. Okay, so we consolidated on top of that. And overnight, we moved up and consolidated over. So this is a bullish bias. Consolidation over prior consolidation. Meaning I will be looking to pick off the lows of the option candles. Now, if you were here yesterday or last night, I shared exactly how I pick off the lows. Okay, I take the lower third of the first 10-minute or 15-minute bar or candle, whatever you use, bars or candles. Okay, and then I start staggering orders to buy, increasing as they get lower and lower towards zero. Okay, that's how I pick off the lows. I start at the lower third of the first candle. Then the next candle, you start at the lower third of that one and go down if you don't have any in there yet. Okay, so you can wait 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and then start putting in your orders on the lower third of that candle. Okay, that's one way of picking off the lows of the option candles. Okay, so that's what I do. All right, I pick off the lows of the candles, and then when price turns around, I sell into strength on those options. So this is bullish. I got a bullish bias here. Okay, nice little gap up, $2, not too much. All right, just right. Okay, that's good for a gap and go. All right, so we'll see what happens. That's a 10-minute chart. Bullish consolidation we left off with yesterday on the SPY. On the 2-hour chart. Okay, you remember the thin yellow line is the 3 EMA. So you got the candlesticks. So you got the sticks and the 3. Okay, you can see they're riding up on top over the 8. Okay, so that's a 2-hour uptrend right there. Nice daylight. Look at that. That's beautiful daylight in between the 3 and the 8. Okay? Usually it gets crowded in there, okay, where you got the bodies of the candlesticks or the tails all in there. Look at the last 2 days. Absolutely nothing in there, okay? It means the bulls were like, okay, any little dip, they're buying it up. Any little dip, okay? That's a 2-hour chart. So nice daylight in between the 3 and the 8, okay? That shows strength right there. Okay, not to mention every time we go up and we hold the higher ground, as opposed to going up and giving it up, okay, they're going up and holding that higher ground. So that's a bullish environment as well. So you get a 2-hour uptrend over a rising 17 EMA on the 2-hour chart. Let's take a look at the daily. Okay, the daily made a new all-time high yesterday. Okay, doesn't get any better than that. All right, so on the quad lines here, here's our April low. Here's our all-time high made yesterday, okay? So that's bullish and in an uptrend. Now, they were in a downtrend. Remember over here, they made a lower low, and then they were in a lower low. I mean, they made a little bullish engulfing here with follow-through, all right? And then they came back and they popped a new high, a higher high. So now they negated the downtrend and converted the uptrend. So we got SPY in daily uptrend, and it's bullish and it's making new all-time highs. Okay, so that's bullish and in an uptrend up there. That's on SPY. Weekly chart, see all the green dots? Okay, that's the 17 EMA. Bullish and in an uptrend. Monthly chart, still bullish and in an uptrend. Nothing's broken yet. Okay, my favorite trade. We're going to talk about my favorite trade because I want everybody to know what my favorite trade is. My favorite trade is a 10-minute uptrend, okay? 10-minute uptrend is when the 3 and the 8 are pointed up and the candlesticks just keep rising, okay? 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. Okay, that's that burnt brown or burnt orange line right here. Okay, so 10-minute uptrend over VWAP that resides inside of a 2-hour uptrend. Well, we got a 2-hour uptrend. And now we got a daily uptrend. And we got a weekly uptrend. And we got a monthly uptrend that resides in all of those bigger time frames also in uptrends. And even better when it's over the all-time high anchored VWAP. It's going to be tough, but I think we can get it done. Because we made a new all-time high yesterday. So here's the way the VWAP goes now, right there. Okay, so we'll see what happens with this. You can see we're already up there already. All right, so on the game plan, this is the SPY game plan. Okay, we got a green erases red entry over 696.55. Pivot is 694.50. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. Red erases green underneath 692.60. Okay. Again, this morning, I'm looking, all right, to pick off the lows of the option candles on the pullback. All right, so we'll see what happens. This is a bullish environment. I'm looking for a bounce first, okay? So more than likely at gap fill, I hope to get a bounce at gap fill. If not, maybe I get a bounce here, okay? But looking for that bottom to manifest. Here we are coming to minor support. Now, yesterday we pulled back to minor support right here, and then we ricocheted off of it or J-hooked off of that to come up here and make new highs. All right, so there's SPY on the 15-minute chart. There's the game plan. Let's back this off some. Let's slide this down. Okay, I trade 2 days till expiration and 9 days till expiration. Friday options on the multiple of 5, specifically for the open interest, all right? A lot of open interest equals tight bid-ask spread, all right? I like a lot of liquidity. I want a tight bid-ask spread, and I want less slippage when I get stopped out, okay? I trade 10-minute uptrends, and I trade 10-minute downtrends. I like strikes that are $2 to $15 out of the money. Now, let me say this right now. I'm not opposed to trading 0 DTEs, even though you see it up here, 2 to 9, okay? I'm not opposed to trading 0 DTEs or 1 DTEs, whatever it takes, okay? All right, I want some action, all right? That's what I came here for. Came here for some action. So I like the zeros and the ones, okay? But for purposes of building my account, okay, or at the beginning of building your account, you might like a little bit more safety in the 2s and the 9s, okay? They're not going to move as quickly as the zeros, and they're not going to have as much volatility. Okay, I like strikes $2 to $15 out of the money. Again, I'm not opposed to trading in the money options, okay? They will cost you more, but they will have better performance. Okay, so those in the money options are going to give you better performance. You're going to get penny for penny, probably price action, okay? I'm okay with not getting penny for penny price action. All right, I'm fine with that. All right, I just like to have a little less risk on the table. And that's why I choose $2 to $15 out of the money. Now, occasionally I do pick up a basket of calls, which I did yesterday, and I'll pick up, probably 3 or 4 calls or strikes that are out of the money, and I may pick up a couple that are in the money, okay? So when I do a basket of calls. So we'll see what happens with that. Looking for price to turn around, okay? Right now, got a little 10-minute downtrend probably right through here. If I pull it up on, yeah, you can see right now on 10-minute chart. Starting a 10-minute downtrend right now. This is a 10-minute chart. That doesn't have the pre-market. Let's try this one right here. Where's my ADMA? I'm not getting it. There it is. Okay. 10-minute. There we are. Okay, right now, price is in a 10-minute downtrend. Okay, you see the 3 is underneath the 8. Okay, so let it free fall. All right, for right now, just let it free fall. Let it show us where the bottom's going to be. It's more than likely going to be on minor support right around here, or maybe a gap fill, and it may be even lower than that. Okay, they may come down to the pivot, 694.50 area, and then bounce off of that. Right now it's in a downtrend, and I'm not interested in trading the downtrend, okay, because the market's incredibly bullish. Come on, we just made some new all-time highs today, okay, yesterday, all right? You got the weeklies in an uptrend, monthlies in an uptrend. I'm not a big fan of trading counter trend, all right, and having them steal my lunch, all right? I don't want that. I'd rather wait for the pullback, look for the bounce, all right, and then trade the bounce, all right? In other words, maybe the 5-minute uptrend or the 10-minute uptrend, when it manifests down here or down here or down here. We'll see what they want to do, all right? So there's SPY on the 10-minute chart. Me, I'm not interested in trading the downtrend. If you want to trade the downtrend, feel free to trade it, okay? I'm just not a big fan of it. I've lost my lunch to trading the downtrend in a bullish market many times before, all right? So I don't do it until the second day, all right? So not interested unless it breaks major support. And we're not anywhere near breaking major support. So I'm not going to trade the downtrend, all right? I'm just going to wait. I'll sit on my hands. I'll find something else to trade, all right? Or I'll just wait, all right? I'm going to be patient and wait for my trade. So when the 10-minute trend does manifest, and it might not be till 2:30, okay? At the end of the day, we'll see. We got a lot of volatility coming at 2 and 2:30. So you might want to be flat going into 2 and 2:30 today, all right? So we'll see what happens. So I'm not interested in trading the 10-minute downtrend. So when the 10-minute uptrend does manifest, that's when I'll start to look at picking off the lows of the option candles. Until then, I'm just going to sit tight. That's all. I'm just going to sit tight with what I got. All right, so that's my plan for this morning. Wait for the 10-minute uptrend to manifest and then trade it. Okay, so we got, again, everything in the bigger time frames is in an uptrend. All right, so I will wait till that 10-minute uptrend does manifest itself. Okay, so there's SPY on the 10-minute. You can see it's up, kind of holding the higher ground up here. So if they do give it up, that'll show me that they go up and they couldn't hold the higher ground if they give it up. All right, so that means the next time we go up there, I'll be taking some profits because the bears were obviously operating up here because they went up and they pulled back. So meaning the next time we go up to the same area, I'll be taking profits along the way. Now, I'll keep 20, 30% in case they want to pop a new all-time high. Okay, that's a possibility of that. But I will be taking some profits when we approach the overnight highs again later today. We'll see what happens, all right? So there's SPY. Let's take a look at QQQ. QQQ doing the same thing, only their post-market, look at their post-market. Okay, right into a climactic candle right there, okay? And then holding the higher ground. I don't know if that's a new all-time high or not. I'll have to check that out later on. Anyways, okay, QQQ left off with, again, a move up over to the right, bullish consolidation. Okay, and then after winding up for about 4 hours in the same area, they broke out, and now they're winding up again, consolidating up here at 636 area right now. Again, bullish environment up there. 2-hour chart. Okay, obviously you see the sticks and the 3 riding up over the 8. Okay, everything, the sticks, the 3, the 8 riding over the 17. Okay, so we're bullish and in an uptrend. So I think that is the all-time high right there. And this is right there. So let's see what this says. The high there overnight, 637.30. The all-time high is going to be one of these two candles right here. That one, 637.01, so we're higher than that one. And the other one, which is the green one, doesn't even look, 636. So overnight, QQQ just made a new all-time high right there. That's on QQQ overnight on the 2-hour chart. Okay, bullish and in an uptrend right there on the daily chart. Okay, this make sure I got the right candle. Okay, so that's the 28th. So this is yesterday's candle. Higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish trap. Okay, over the flat 17, over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Again, on the daily chart. Okay, that's bullish, top of quadrant 4. Here's our April low. That's bullish and in an uptrend. That's QQQ. Okay, weekly chart. See all the green dots? Still bullish and an uptrend. It actually looks like a bull. See the two horns? Okay, see the nose ring down there? Okay, so weekly chart, uptrend. Okay, monthly chart, bullish. Look at all the green dots. Bullish and in an uptrend on QQQ. Okay, so that's why I'm not trading counter trend. Okay, maybe the second day I'll trade some counter trend. Not the first day. Things are way too bullish right now to be trading counter trend, and we haven't broken major support yet. So I'm more interested in trading a bounce than I am trading counter trend at this time. So there's QQQ. Okay, bullish and in an uptrend. Okay, let's take a look at Diamond Dow on the daily chart. All right, here's Diamond Dow on the daily chart. Let's go over to that one right there. And we'll go on the daily chart and we'll hit this one. Okay, so there's Diamond Dow. Yesterday's candle, lower high, lower low, closing under a bearish cross and under the flat 17. Look, it's still holding the higher ground. It's still top of quadrant 4. Here's our April low. That's bullish and in an uptrend. Okay, Diamond Dow. Let's take a look at IWM. Okay, so here's IWM, lower high, lower low, closing inside a bullish trap over a rising 17. See the green dots? Still near the top of quadrant 4. Okay, here's our April low. Okay, so that's bullish and in an uptrend right there on IWM. Okay, so let's take a look at Stinker. All right, so here's Stinker, and here's the April low. There's the all-time high. Okay, now Stinker yesterday made higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish cross and over a falling 17 EMA. Okay, now if you notice, Stinker's not in the upper third. I'm going to move this out of the way once again. Okay, so Stinker's not. See, this is the quadrant 1, quadrant 2, 3, and that's 4 right there. I'm going to move this out of the way as well. Don't need it. And take this. I'll leave that. Okay, so there's Stinker. Not in the upper third, so it's still neutral, okay, and in a downtrend. They have not made a higher high yet. Okay, so here's on the daily chart. See this high that pokes over the 17? See that little wick up there? It's barely visible. Just a little bit of green up there. Well, they got to make a higher high than that. If they manage to do that, they will negate the downtrend and convert the uptrend. We'll see. Because once they do that, now they got to hold the higher ground. Because if they just go up there and give it up, they'll be back in a downtrend again. Okay? So there's FNGU on the daily chart. Neutral, but in an uptrend. Okay? So we got to pull back in the downtrend. Okay? Neutral and in a downtrend. Neutral and it's still in a downtrend, but pulling back. Okay? So there's Stinker. All right, let's take a look at silver and gold. So we'll take a look at gold first. It's an easy one. Okay, new all-time high, and yet again another new all-time high today. So that's, okay, it's hard to be make new all-time highs and not be bullish and in an uptrend. You can see right there, top of quadrant 4, obviously bullish and in an uptrend. Here's our 2022 origin of this move right here. There's that low, and here's the move. All-time high made yesterday and yet again today. So there's gold. Doesn't get any better than that. Okay, let's take a look at silver. Okay, so silver yesterday made a lower high and a lower low, closing over a bullish trap over the rising 17, still near the top of quadrant 4. You can see up there. So that's bullish and in an uptrend. Okay, here's our 2022 low. All right, so that's still bullish and in an uptrend on silver. Let's take a look at UNG. Okay, so here's UNG putting in the inside day. It's a lower high. It's a higher low. We closed not in the neutral zone. Okay, so not quite. Not enough to make it to the neutral zone. The day before was in the neutral zone, but yesterday was not. Okay, so an inside day, but they are holding the higher ground. Okay, they are up over the 12-month high, anchored VWAP. That's the pink line right there. Okay, so currently there's a high. They made a higher high. They're in an uptrend, all right, but they're still bearish. They were neutral day before. Today they're bearish because they're not in the upper third. So there's UNG on the daily chart. Okay, neutral and in an uptrend currently. Okay, let's take a look at USO. Wow, that's a nice candle. Okay, so higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish trap over the rising 17 EMA. Okay, not quite enough to be in the upper third. Okay, close, but no cigar. Okay, so that's neutral and in an uptrend. Got a high, they're making a higher high. So that's neutral and in an uptrend. Okay, now both of these, USO and UNG, okay, we need to see them hold higher ground. Okay, in the past, they do nothing but go up and give it up. Okay, they just go up and they give it up. See, they go up and they give it up and then they're making new all-time lows. Okay, so we kind of need to see them hold the higher ground for once. All right, they have a history of not being able to do that, so we'll see what happens. So maybe they're not ready yet. Maybe they will be this spring. We'll see. So there's UNG, all right, and USO. Let's take a look at our technicals, T2101. Yesterday, the market moved higher. Remember, we made new all-time highs. And yet participation just inked up a little bit. Okay, not quite enough, all right? But the IWM did dip a little bit. So all in all, I'll take it. I wish it was more, but it is what it is, all right? We moved up just ever so slightly, okay? So that's T2101, and that would be the breadth, or you could call it the participation. T2122, okay? We came in, visited the seller's chop zone, but we recovered, all right? We're still on the bullish side of neutrality. That would be this gold line right through here. So we wound up wandering out of the buyer's chop zone only to return back to the buyer's chop zone. And in the process, we made a lower low, okay? So not liking that too much, all right? But I do like the recovery back to the buyer's chop zone. Need to start seeing some higher highs, okay? So we'll see what happens here. T21, 22, that's the 15-minute chart, okay? So still just dipping around inside that buyer's chop zone. Okay, I wanted them to come up here and make a higher low and then make a higher high up here in the buy zone, maybe, excuse me, right back to the overbought zone. But that's not happening. But I'll take what I got. Being in the buyer's chop zone as opposed to the seller's chop zone is still usable. And you can see the markets are still able to make new all-time highs in the buyer's chop zone. So we'll take it. There's T2122. T2123. Okay, so there's the all-time high right there. That was made on the 26th. And yesterday, you can see we got a low, and we made a little lower low. So we left off in a downtrend, but did we come back and make a higher high? Yes, we did right here at the end of the day. Okay, so We leave off, all right, with a 15-minute uptrend. Really? You back out. That's just bullish consolidation. Okay, so 15-minute uptrend, bullish consolidation. Again, you can see, excuse me, price action up over the rising 200 SMA. That's exactly where I want to be if I'm a bull, is consolidating over the 200 SMA. Hopefully that's a launch pad and they launch higher. So there's T2123, 15-minute chart. Love that. They're holding the higher ground right up next to the all-time highs. That's 15-minute chart. Let's take a look at the 3-bar chart. Okay, here's our 3-bar chart. I want to show you. This is our April low. Okay, and this right here was the all-time high. Okay, after we made our April low. Okay, before we made our April low. Okay, all-time high. Then we came through. See that high? We made a new high. Okay, then we had a pullback to that little neckline right there. Okay, and then we had a red rubber ball bounce. That red rubber school ball. Okay, so we came back here, hit the neckline, bounced back up over the flat 200, consolidated on top, and then put a measured move and a little bit more higher to make a higher high. All right, and make a new all-time high. So that was the all-time high. Then this became the all-time high. And today, this is the all-time high up here. Okay, so T2123, 3-bar chart at all-time highs. That's bullish. You can see the quad lines. Okay, this is quadrant 1. So that's bullish and obviously in an uptrend, holding those highs up there. That's T2123. All right, stinker on the 15. Not bad work on stinker yesterday. Okay, bullish gap up. Bears never filled the gap. Same thing the day before, bullish gap up. Bears never filled the gap. You can see them up here holding that higher ground. See how they move up and hold the higher ground. And then they're moving up overnight and holding the higher ground. Okay, that's bullish. We're over the falling 200. Okay, it's where you want to be if you're a bull. And you want to see consolidation, all right? You want to see them hold and then rip and take another, make another move, advancement higher. We'll see what happens. That pink line is the all-time high anchored VWAP. Now, if we stretch all of this over, okay, to our all-time highs back there. Where'd that go? Well, we'll take another one. All right, we can do this. All right. Well, they keep disappearing, don't they? I'll just go up to right there. Okay? You can see we're not in the middle third. We're still in the lower third. Okay, so let's say this is the all-time high. There's the pullback low. All right, and you can see on the bounce, we're not quite in the middle ground yet. We're still in the lower third, so we're still bearish on the 15-minute chart, still bearish. Okay, on the daily chart, we're neutral. On the 15-minute chart, you can see the pullback low. Okay, so you're neutral because you're not out of the lower third yet. Okay, they're trying. They're almost there. Okay, so and in an uptrend on the 15-minute chart. Okay, making higher. See, here's a low. They made a higher low. Okay, and then you can see that's a high. They made a higher high. So they're in an uptrend. So still bearish and in an uptrend. So it's actually just a pullback. Okay, in a bigger downtrend, in a bigger time frame downtrend. Okay, so there's stinker. Let's take a look at. I think I got everything. Let's take a look at the economic package. All right. U.S. dollar. Okay, so here's our 2025 high right here. It's a daily chart. You can see we got ourselves in a downtrend, and now we're in a big bear flag. Okay, we tried to break out of the flag over here. We could not pop the top. All right. So failure to make a significant new high. What happens? Well, price is going to come back and check the lows to see if the lows are going to hold. And guess what? Yeah, we broke through. All right, on this bear flag. Again, you linger here too long, and people give up hope and they start to sell. Okay, so here's price coming down. So we closed near this 95, 98 number yesterday. This is the U.S. dollar index. Okay, so we follow the dollar because the dollar is going to determine, pretty much whether we're going to have inflation. Because if we got a weak dollar, all right, then prices are probably going to go up. It's going to take us more dollars to buy what we used to buy last year. All right, but for the investors in us, all right, a weak dollar is great in the foreign markets because when they convert their currency to ours, it doesn't cost them as much. All right, therefore our goods and services become more competitive and more affordable. So if we tend to capture market dominance, all right, in those new markets, that helps out. Okay, and then what happens is all that new revenue that we're taking in because of the weak dollar winds up going to the top line, and if management's got their act together, a lot of that should transcend down to the bottom line, all right? And that means more earnings per share, and of course, more earnings per share, you know what happens after that. Price goes up, the stock value goes up, and then what happens is you get new all-time highs. Hence, that's why you saw new all-time highs in August, September, okay? And now you're getting them again in January, okay? That's all evidence of a weak dollar or the dollar not being as strong as it used to be, in the fact that we are open to new markets because our goods and services now become more competitive or more affordable, however you want to look at it. Okay, let's take a look at the economic package. And we'll look at right here. SPY Max Pain is 695. It's for the options that expire today. And the put to call ratio is 1.4 right there. Okay, let's take a look at economic calendar. Today, we're going to get some delayed reports. All right, so we're going to get international trades in goods. That's at 8:30. We had MBA mortgage applications at 7. Okay, now supposedly the interest rate for housing has come down. So I'm hoping that's an increase. I don't know what the number was. I haven't looked at it yet. Retail inventories, that's a delayed report. Okay, coming out at 8:30. Again, the international trade in goods, that's a delayed report. Okay, and then we got wholesale inventories, 8:30. And then we got a petroleum report, 10 o'clock. That's not a delayed report. And the main event this week is going to be the FOMC announcement, and they're going to talk about rate cuts, all right? And then a little presser at 2:30 afterwards. Be a lot of volatility, all right? They'll probably make price do like an EKG, where it goes rips up, rips down, and then comes back, and then it finds its trend, okay? So be a lot of volatility right around 2:30, right into the close, all right? So watch the close for those thriller trades. They're likely to manifest right around 3:30 if they establish trend after doing a couple EKGs, one at 2, one at 3, one at 2:30. So we'll see what happens. All right, tomorrow we got international trades in goods, another delayed report. I guess they spaced them out because we used to have 2 yesterday. Now they pushed it off to this day. So now we got same thing, only another, probably a different week. All right, international trade in goods and services, 8:30 tomorrow. Jobless claims, 8:30. Productivity and cost, delayed report, 8:30. Okay, and then factory orders, 10 o'clock. Okay, so delayed reports here on factory orders and productivity and cost, and also international trading goods. But notice, jobless claims is going to be fresh. All right, so that's new data coming out on Thursday. Gas report comes out 10 o'clock. Okay, we'll still have lingering effects of the FOMC EKG coming into Thursday. On Friday, we'll have PPI final demand. We'll have options expire. All right, so we got PPI final demand at 8:30, Chicago PMI 9:45, and farm prices at 3. That's a new one. You used to have a rig count at 1. Now it's farm prices at 3. Whatever. All right. So earnings report. Big boys report tonight. Okay. Got Microsoft, 3.4 trillion. That's with a T. All right. Like in Tom. $1 trillion. That's going to report tonight. Meta, $1.8 trillion. Okay. Tesla, $1.4 trillion. Okay. All tonight. Lam Research, $278 billion. IBM, $278 billion. One of them might be a 9. I don't have really good eyesight. So all of those tonight. So a lot of market cap reporting tonight. Again, more volatility will definitely carry into probably Thursday, Friday price action. All right, tomorrow morning, actually this morning, ASML, $500 billion on ASML. Okay, is reporting this morning. You got Amphenol, $190 billion. That's reporting this morning. GE Vernova, $180 billion. Denair, $167 billion. AT&T, $166 billion. And we go to page 2. We got Services Now. They're going to report tomorrow night. Progressive, $121 billion. Report this morning. Starbucks, $109 billion. They report today. ADP, okay, it's $104 billion. And they're going to report this morning as well. Okay, so a lot of market cap reporting these next 3 days. Thursday, you can see we got Apple's going to report in the evening. Usually big tech reports in the evening. $3.7 trillion. All right, that's Thursday night. If you haven't got enough volatility between FOMC and the big cap stocks reporting tonight, you'll get even more tomorrow night. Okay, so we'll see. All right, so we got Visa, $632 billion. They're going to report tomorrow night. MasterCard, $473 billion reports tomorrow morning. Caterpillar as well. SAP as well. Thermo Fisher as well. Clack's going to report tomorrow night with Apple. And then Honeywell is going to report tomorrow morning along with MasterCard, Caterpillar, and SAP. All right, Stryker Corporation tomorrow night along with the tech. That would be Apple. Lockheed Martin we're going to report tomorrow morning along with Caterpillar and SAP. And we got a second page on that one. We got Parker Hannifin's going to report $117 billion tomorrow morning. Sanofi Advantis tomorrow morning. Blackstone tomorrow morning. Comcast tomorrow morning. Altria tomorrow morning. Okay, so a whole lot of market cap all reporting this week at the end of these days. Friday, we'll just go to Friday when we get closer, but you can see clearly we got the oil companies, ExxonMobil, Chevron, and then some more financials, American Express, Verizon, Regeneron right there. Okay, so that's it for me this morning. Okay, I'm going to stay bullish. Things are looking bullish. I'm going to stay bullish. All right, I'm not interested in trading the downtrend unless it breaks major support. All right, so I'm going to stay bullish. So I'm interested in buying the pullback. So what I do is I put it on a 3 or a 5, and I look for the reversal to manifest or to happen, okay? So I'll look for the 3 to cross over the 8, like on the 5-minute chart or the 3-minute chart, okay? And then I'm looking for that 10-minute uptrend to manifest so I can trade that 10-minute uptrend where the 3 is now on top of the 8. So for the meantime, I'm just going to sit on my hands and wait for my 10-minute uptrend. Not interested in trading the downtrend. Where they should find support is maybe some minor support right here around 696.40, all right? Or where VWAP left off yesterday, which is also gap fill, You can see the dotted line. That's yesterday's close. So they should find either support here or on top of these two humps right there. If not, maybe even lower than that. Maybe down to these two valleys right here. We'll see. 694.50. All right. So we'll see what they want to do. Again, sitting on my hands, waiting for the 10-minute uptrend to manifest. Right now, see clearly we have 10-minute downtrend, which I'm not a fan of trading. Okay. But nothing against you guys trading it if you want to. All right. So that's it for me. All right. Unless I missed some questions. First step. Oh, okay. So, all right. So I'll see you guys in, well, it looks like 35 minutes. All right. And we'll open up the markets, take a look at them one more time. All right. Everybody have a great afternoon. I'll see you guys in about 35 minutes. Thank you.